Beyond the Clef is presented by Director's Choice.
Welcome to Beyond the Clef. I am your host, David Beal, and I'm joined by my guest today, Marianne White. How are you doing, Marianne?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So, Marianne is the band director at Harris Middle School in San Antonio, Texas. That's Northeast Independent School District. And then we also have Marianne on because she is the creator of the coolest named blog I've ever seen or ever heard of, thatflippinbanddirector.com. So tell us a little bit about what you do with that flippin' band director.
Well,
And what's up with the name, I guess.
the name is kind of a play on words about flipping a classroom. And so originally when I started the website, I was exploring how to flip a band hall instead of a traditional like math classroom. That's how they were originally kind of flipped. And so anyway, I was just interested in seeing how I could effectively use video instruction to help my students learn better. And I started documenting everything I was doing on this website. And then I kind of have tried to turn it into a resource for people using technology with their band students in general or music.
Yeah, and I've used a lot of your stuff. It's really great.
Awesome. Well, that's kind of the goal, is that it will be kind of a help thing for others.
Yeah, and what I love is that if I ever want to have an idea or just sometimes I'm just looking for some stuff, I always go to Marianne's website because she has a lot of really cool, just little articles or whatnot, or little videos about how to use different resources. And I'm looking right now, you have cool examples, you have your resources page. I'm loading, just has all the stuff and apps that you use. And so sometimes I'm like, oh man, what is Viddle? Well, I haven't used that before. And so maybe I'm going to check it out. And that's actually how I got onto using Canva, right? And that's one of my favorites. And I know it's one of your favorites too, right?
Yes, that's like my number one, probably. Well, it's definitely my top three. So.
Right, right. Well, I guess tell us in general, what is Canva?
Canva, I found Canva when I was looking for a way to create graphics for my blog, actually. And I stumbled upon this, and it's a free site that just allows you to be so free with choosing backgrounds and fonts and drop and drag everything. It's got lots of graphics in there. You can upload your own graphics, and it just basically can make you anything graphically that you need. And you don't have to know how to be a graphic designer to do it. And I'm definitely not good at that. So Canva is great.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I love how they have a lot of really cool templates that you can kind of, and by a lot, I mean a lot.
Yeah.
It's endless. I keep on scrolling down and there's more. And so I always find something like, ooh, maybe a little bit more, a little bit more. And if you want to find, like, if you have an idea of something that you want to put out, you can go on and start looking through different designs. And sometimes they're just designs of, anything from a party invitation to a poster to whatever it happens to be, to like I'm seeing like a quote here is kind of cool. And then I'll go in and tweak that and edit that for whatever my purposes are going to be. So how do you use, like, give me an example of some of the things that you use?
Well, I'm on my Canva website to kind of guide my thoughts here. I use it for everything. We did a concession stand fundraiser at a festival that was held at my school, and it wasn't a band related thing. So we just ran a concession stand all day, and I made the menu on Canva and could easily print it out as a PDF document. I use it to send letters home to my students. So kind of the next thing on my feed here is my letter home that says that we need help with our concession stand, and that here's the things that we need donations of. And I put a QR code on there. Like I said, you can upload your own graphics. So I made a QR code there was a link to our sign up page, and I put that on Canva because I can upload my own stuff. I've made posters for my students. Like I made an instrument abbreviations poster so that when I tell them to mark their music, they can just write the abbreviation real fast.
Yeah, I like that too. I also made oh man, it was a while ago. It was like a how do your reads work poster?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was, and I can't find the design right now, but it's it was explaining in an infographic, I guess, if you will, how that ends up working. And you know what? I'm actually thinking of it, and maybe a whole nother topic is I think I actually did it on Pictochart, which is another one that you suggested for me, and I love that one too.
Yeah, that one was kind of the original free
Mhm.
infographic maker, but Canva has since incorporated a lot of infographic elements that you can use. So you can easily make an infographic. If you don't know what that is, that's one of those things you see online that looks like a flow chart and has pictures, but it will tell you like information. So that might have been a terrible explanation, but
No, that's
it,
exactly it. And I'm pulling up Pictochart right now.
yeah.
Hopefully, I can get that going. Yeah, I ended up using the Canva recently with. Oh, well, it's not coming up. I ended up using Canva recently on our band trip, and what I did was I put in the itinerary into different chunks of the time. Like we went to San Antonio for a director's choice event at the Tobin Center,
Oh,
and so we had different chunks of the day, right? So we're leaving, and this is what you need to know, or the before we leave, then on the way there before the performance, here's this chunk, and then that night and Saturday. And so I put up these little uh, infographics, and I actually sized them and edited them to the point where they could be put on the background of their phone. So like the
oh, cool.
on a typical phone, I measured it on my iPhone, but on a typical phone, there's a clock and then like a slide to unlock or something. So I made it to where they had reminders and the checkpoints in the itinerary, and I would send those out through Remind. And
Cool.
then they would end up being able to put those on their phone, and then that helps me not have to answer the thousand questions.
Yeah.
When is lunch? When are we leaving? Doing all. And so it was really just getting a lot of information. And what I really thought was pretty cool about it was I put it on. There's a new app on iOS. I'm positive it's on Android too. I'd have to check on that. And I can actually edit it on my phone live right there too.
Oh,
Exact same stuff.
the Canva app.
Yeah, have you used it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
downloaded it the day it came out. It's like
yeah.
made my life better.
Yeah, and so then I was riding on the bus and I needed to make an adjustment. I didn't have to go get out my laptop, try to hook it up to the internet and yada yada and go on and it was actually a really, really great experience. And I ended up personally making a few invitations to. I think I was at home or doing something, visiting family, and I wanted to make an invitation for a little party that I was having, just on, a personal party.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of sat there real quick, pulled up something, and ended up making it in only a few minutes and sent out a little text picture to a bunch of friends. And I think it's a really, really cool, easy way to get out some great info that's easy to understand. It's not a lot of words. And
Definitely. I
looks like
sort of
you've ended up using it kind of like as just your general word processor.
yes, yeah, definitely. It's much easier to use than like Microsoft Word or even Google Docs. I love the Google Docs suite of tools, but Canva just lets me drag everything around and put it wherever I
Yeah.
want it. And I don't have to worry about formatting or text wrapping or anything. It just is so fluid and easy to use. I've also used it for print, like postcards. And you were saying
Oh,
to
yeah.
get an invitation on it. I've actually made, I had a baby shower for a friend, and I made the
Mhm.
invitations on Canva and had them printed out like at Office Depot or something. And
Yeah.
we did beginner postcards
I
for,
did the exact same thing.
yeah. And so you can size it however you want. You can make it whatever size, and then you can upload it easily to those websites that do the print services.
Yeah.
And so it's just so versatile. And I'm looking
And
at,
they come out, you can download them as PDFs, and just to be technical, you can do JPEGs, which is the better thing for like if you're going to send it out like a text message or whatever.
right.
And then the PNG files can also be very helpful when you're sending it to, or PDFs, when you're sending it to printers.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And Canva has some elements that we should probably discuss that you do have to pay for. But I have never paid one penny to Canva.
You're a big free person.
I'm all about free. And I love Canva, and I tell lots of people about Canva, so I don't really feel bad about that. So
Yeah, right.
I'm a good advertiser for them. But you can pay for their fancy backgrounds or their special graphics. You don't need to do that though, because there's just so many endless options for you to play with. You can make a cool background yourself by choosing a color, and you can change the invisibility of each thing that you put on top of that. And so it can turn into a cool looking background even if you didn't pay for it. If you want to use an image from the internet, like a real specific one, I always recommend you do a Google safe search for images that are free to use and use commercially and to share, free to use and share. And if you do that, download that, and then you can upload it into Canva and use it on your Canva design. And you're doing that totally legally. And there's no laws being broken. So
yeah,
you don't.
And I ended up doing. You're the free person. I'm the. I'll pay $1, and I've done that a couple times, and I'm not creative, and so people who are not creative at all are like me. Sometimes you just need that extra little graphic or that design, and they'll end up letting you play with it and get the whole thing done. And then once you go to save it or want to print it out, then it'll say, okay, you got to pay this much in order to make it happen. And that's really, I think, a pretty nice deal. If you really get heavy into it, the upgraded features, there are some features like being able to put your own brand in there.
Yes.
That's a big thing for me.
And the branding is free.
Okay.
Yeah, you can upload like the colors that you use for your brand and the fonts that you like the most, any logos, you can save them. It's free to a certain extent.
Right.
You have to pay to upload more than a certain number. And I haven't played with that a whole lot, but it will let you try certain things like that for free if you want to put your band's logo or something on their orchestras
and colors and
yes.
I'm a font person, so I have a band font. It's kind of dorky, but in order to have the font, I think you have to have the upgraded version, and that's just me, but that's okay. Yeah, I absolutely love Canva, and what I like is when you're getting set up to create a design, there are all sorts of different categories of design, and so you can have the typical like A4 like. I think that's 8.5 by 11 print-offs, or like a card, or then I like that now they have a new presentation feature, so you can actually start to design presentations off of this.
Yeah, that was a really nice thing for them to add. And about a year ago, they added the infographic so that it's long and skinny rectangle, like a regular infographic would be, and you can add the sections of it just like you could in another infographic maker. But this one is really easy to use.
Right, and I always think of the infographics is like Pinterest to me. That like there's a ton of that on Pinterest, and I love that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and of course, yes, I forgot to mention our special guest here is Libby the dog. Yes. Okay.
My special guest is sleeping next to me. So.
So on Canva, there are just so many options, and I feel like it's a really easy way for everybody to get out some pretty professional looking stuff. It makes it easy for the kids to understand because that's what they're seeing. Instagram, you can get those size photos or those size graphics, put those out there. Everything's easy to use on a phone, easy to use on a computer, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. Well, thanks, Marianne. We really appreciate you coming on, and we can't wait to talk to you again.
Great. Thanks for having me.